The following is a production of Gearhead Media.
All right, welcome back to the All Automotive Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Clausen, and today we got a guest. His name is Richard Holland. He is currently the CEO of a company called Nation Safe Drivers, and we'll get into that. He's also helped Endurance Warranty come into the forefront of extended service contracts and become one of the better ones. And also, he started his own tech company. So sit back and relax. Fasten your seatbelts. I'm glad that you are all here. And welcome to the All Automotive Podcast. All right, well, Richard, welcome to the show. First of all, I was looking over your background and stuff, and I guess we'll start off with what started you in this process to do what you do with Nation Safe Drivers?
Okay, great question, Matt. And listen, appreciate the invitation to join you on your show today. I get asked that question a lot. And over the course really of my whole career, I've been in the automotive industry. Maybe I have motor oil in my blood. I don't know. I love cars, love being around car people. Love to talk about cars. And so there's just an enthusiasm that you have about it. So I was approached a couple of years ago to come down to Nation Safe Drivers, lean in on, capitalize, frankly, on a lot of the experience that I had over my career. And it's been a great place. They're headquartered down here in South Florida, and home for me is Utah. So a winter in South Florida sounds pretty darn appealing. And when you look at what we do, we really are advocates for the motorist, and it's something that I've believed in really all my career. So excited to be here.
Yeah, and thanks for coming on the show. And we were talking before we got on about some of the background and stuff. And talk about a little bit about, I know I have an episode where I talk about extended service contracts and what to watch out for and what to be aware of. And recently we've had experience with Endurance Warranty. Talk about how you brought that company from a small in its infancy to what it is today and one of the better extended service contract companies.
Yeah, I think, listen, that was a great experience. I was there 3 years. I stood on the shoulders of those that went before me. I don't know that back in the day I would have had the same courage that Paul did to launch that business, but when they decided to bring in professional managements when I joined them. And when you look at what an extended service contract is designed to do, is to really help de-risk those mechanical surprises and expensive surprises that a motorist can have. And so a lot of it was awareness, getting it out there that it was available. Most people are presented the opportunity to get one of those service contracts when they acquire the vehicle. Today, cars are on the road 10, 11, 12 years, even longer, well outside of that original purchase experience, and lived with a lot of exposure. And so as we would promote that and work through that, we restructured the way the team was organized. We became much more forward-leaning on trying to get those presented and get people under protection. That business exploded, right? We probably tripled the size of that business in 3 years. So we just got that many more people covered under a VSC. It was a great experience. They're their partner today. We're actually a partner with them on one of the key benefits of a service contract, and that is when something unexpected happens, how do you get it from wherever you are to the shop to get it repaired?
Yeah, so talk
core offering that we do now at Nation Safe Driver.
Yeah, so talk a little bit more about that. I know in my research, I did a little bit more research as far as what Nation Safe Drivers does, and it's something that you primarily are in dealerships, correct? And
yes.
So you're giving the customers like a roadside warranty or what exactly are you guys doing?
Yeah, so what we do is so Nation Safe Driver really has two sides to the motorist ownership experience. One is that we help de-risk the unanticipated, and then we do that through those insurance-like products, like a roadside or like a vehicle service contract. That's our risk business. Our recovery business is when it does happen, and the motorist is stranded on the side of the road, they have someone they can call. And so they would call us. And we do that as on the benefit for really hundreds of businesses out there who have embedded that benefit into some of their offerings. So they'll call us, we'll arrange a service provider to reach them on the side of the road. They might be able to do some light repair there. Maybe they need gas. Maybe they just need the jump of their car. Maybe it's a flat tire. They can do that on the spot. But if it's something where the mechanical integrity is in question, they'll load it up on the wrecker or a flatbed and get it towed to the service provider of their choice. Maybe back to the dealer. Really, there are a lot of options there, but it's how do you get them off the road safely and get their car to where it can be repaired.
Right, exactly. And there's things like when you buy the car brand new, the extended
you have a warranty.
The vehicle warranty will give you this roadside. So when you're purchasing a used vehicle and you go into that F&I department and they're looking at you as far as this is what you're going to pay and here's some other things that we offer, that is something, I totally agree with that, because it's like, come on, folks, we've all done it. I've run out of gas I work on cars. Yeah. It's like,
always the unforeseen at the least convenient of times.
And whether it's a flat tire or it's a tire change, or nobody wants to be broken down on the side of the road, number one. And number two, they want to have that security in the fact that they've got this to fall back on.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, it's 911 for mechanical failure. And so you call somebody listen, the first question that we would ask a motorist, are you in a safe place?
Yeah.
Do you feel safe? And if you're not, we take, accelerated services. We'll dial 911 and make sure that we get them safe. But once make sure that we've got that covered, then it's like, now let's get your car to where we can get it back on the road. And it's largely going to involve getting a service department involved, whether it's an independent service center or a franchise dealer. And how you get it from the side of the road to them is what the roadside service provides.
Now, is Nation Safe Drivers partnering with certain tow companies or certain companies that offer towing? I know yes. AAA is a big one.
Yeah, so you have AAA, which is a big direct-to-consumer. You have the OEMs that you made reference to that do it as part of their warranty. They actually will contract with us for the providing of that service. And what we are is a facilitator. We technically don't own a single wrecker.
Right.
But we have partnerships with 50,000 of them from coast to coast. And so we have every zip code in the country covered. And when we dispatch a tow to them, it's done digitally, goes right in, goes out to their systems, right onto either their cell phone or a smart device in the wrecker, and says, here's a tow that needs to be accomplished. And the process begins. And of those 50,000 partners, I would guess we have somewhere around 250-ish records at our fingertips to get out there and get you off the road.
Yeah, that's good. And that helps out the consumer to feel safe as far as, this was purchased when I bought this used car, and it makes me feel comfortable now that it's worked. It works, that it's not just, calling the wrecker yourself. Cause, I'll tell you that experience. We were going camping. It's not far from here. We towed the camper to the campground. I was like, well, I'm going to run into town and get some food, and then I'll be back. So I had my son in the car, pull onto the highway. Wasn't even paying attention to the being out of gas. So, ran out of gas, got a 5-gallon rescue. But you're on the side of any busy highway, and that can be, scary at times. So the comfort of knowing that you've got something there and a number that you can call. And a lot of times I tell customers this all the time, because we offer them, towing as far as being in a general
Yeah.
radius
Get a
of the
bigger
shop.
shop.
Right. Yeah. It's just like, if you got a problem, you call us. We partner with, we don't own a wrecker. We're not in the, wrecker business. We call one of the 2 or 3 companies that are in our town, and we dispatch them, and we pay for the tow, and then we'll take good care of them. If it is a situation where, we did something wrong, then obviously we're going to take care of that tow as well. But tell us a little bit about some of the products. And I know we're talking about roadside assistance. Is that all it is, or is there more things that you guys are doing?
Well, in that family of businesses, you have the roadside. And again, it can come into what we really call a tow or a soft service, which is some of those on the side of the road repairs or recovery efforts. Get you some gas, change the tire for you. We also leverage that same network and that partnerships to do vehicle logistics. And so if we have some companies that we'll actually put them on a transport, and they might go from coast to coast. It's maybe one of the big national dealership groups that needs to redistribute where inventory is. And since we're experts at that, we do the logistics on that aspect of it.
Oh, that's cool.
If we get past that recovery part of our business, get into the risk ones, several of those are solutions comparable, similar to, we're most familiar with a vehicle service contract, but there are other items. We have tire and wheel, maybe the biggest one today where people are having challenge in their vehicles is a windshield product. And I know we might have it in your P&C insurance, but we actually offer a separate windshield solution, since that seems to be a ever increasing exposure for motorists. And windshields have gotten to be hyper complicated.
Yes.
It's no longer just a clear piece of glass I got to be able to see through.
Right. Well, that you got to thanks to some of the,
you got the calibration now for all of the active accident avoidance technologies that are embedded on a car. And so windshields have become a really, really significant piece of, it's not mechanical, but a serious component of a vehicle today.
We will be back after a short break.
Hey everybody, Matt here. Wanted to take a minute to talk about our main sponsor, G-Force Automotive. Did you know that they're a certified service center through Auto Value? What does that get you, you say? Well, that gets you 3 years or 36,000 mile warranty on select repairs. Want to know more about that? Visit their website at www.gforceautomotive.net. Click on that banner that says Make an Appointment and make your appointment today. We're proud to have them on board as the main sponsor of the All Automotive podcast. So now let's get back to it. More of the All Automotive podcast.
Yeah, and people don't understand that the ADAS systems that are on these cars are very complex. And also, I own a 2024 Chevy Silverado, and, I've said this before on one of my other podcasts, it's got forward collision avoidance. Yep. So it's got these red flashing indicators. If you're too close, or if you're not hitting the brakes and it sees you're coming up to that, it put the brakes on.
Yeah. That's all dependent on, right behind that rear view mirror is the sensors for that, the lasers and the radar, right? And if for whatever reason the replacement glass isn't tuned for that and those haven't been calibrated, exactly, you compromise those systems. Here, you have a confidence that they're going to bail you out when you're not paying attention, but boy, it could be defective on you.
Right. And the correct, and you're right, the correct windshield and a very reputable company is needed in that situation, because you can't just pull the windshield out and then, because the camera's up there in front of your rear view mirror, and that camera sees forward so it can dim your headlights, stop you if needed, tell you how close you are, help with your adaptive cruise. So there's so many things, and I totally agree with that. As far as the windshields are concerned, well,
you're right. I think there's one other part that I hear motorists vent their frustrations about. There's a difference between OEE and OEM replacement glass. And the OEM has certain engineered specifics. Maybe it's heat tolerances, it's part of the insulation on the car. The biggest one I hear is the noise, the sound deadening. And an OEE lacks perhaps that.
Right.
So all of a sudden they get their windshield repaired and they're like, wow, this car the road noises, I never noticed it before. And when people ask me about it, I will frequently ask them, how recently did you replace a windshield? And they're like, well, I did that a month or so ago. Now I hate my car because it's so noisy. And I'm like, well, the problem is that you could have probably should have stuck with OEM glass. And the difference isn't that much. It's worth the investment to make sure you ensure your satisfaction with the operability of that car.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's lots other things that the windshields do too. You know, they're reflective for your heads-up display. They are UV protected.
Sensory for your windshield wipers.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. So when I worked at the GM dealer, we had Buick, and one of the things Buick started doing to make their cars more comfortable, and you're talking about the sound deadening stuff, is they laminated both front windows on the four-door cars. And people don't realize that, hey, that deadens the sound. And that's, you know, the windshield's a big deal because it's laminated. So if something hit it or you got into an accident, it's not going to shatter and, you know, do a Takata airbag on you or anything like that. So it would, you know, that's why it's laminated. So it doesn't separate itself, but it's also laminated to keep the noise down. So if that's another product, that's great.
Yeah, it's a sophisticated piece of a car now. And if you look at the sort of the rise of EVs, most of them are replacing the headliner and the roof with glass for a couple of reasons. One, to just improve the headroom because now you're sitting on the batteries. But the other is that it's less of a manufacturing process to install that full ceiling of glass and charge an option charge for it. But so I think we're going to find glass is going to become a much more prevalent part of the car construction and something motorists over the life of their car, they just got to be more sensitive to. It's not mechanical, but it is an integral part of the car.
Yeah, absolutely. So we just touched on this EV stuff with more of the electric vehicles coming into the forefront. Are there any challenges that you guys see with EVs?
Couple of them. I'll tell you the first one, and it's probably not obvious to most. They don't put a spare tire in there. And so because they got to save weight, right?
Right.
For them, lower weight means increased range, and range being the big challenge with EVs. And so no spare tire. So if you get a flat tire someplace, you need roadside at that to come out, either repair the tire and most likely to replace the tire or tow you to a tire center.
So again, as these EVs age, you know, there's not only the question of the battery life, which they've made leaps and bounds with that over the last couple of years.
They have.
But this also presents a challenge to where, you know, I don't know that Tesla or any of these manufacturers are going to keep extending this down the road. So your nation safe drivers is, hey, you know, that's something you might want to add. You buy a used EV, you know,
you get a used EV, you need to have roadside protection.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Because it's that, and listen, you're in the repair business, you're an expert at it. You know, the brakes wear faster on an EV because the car weighs so dang much.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, the state of Utah, for example, they actually rescinded the vehicle inspection required to renew your registration there a few years back. And what we're seeing is an increased lack of maintenance until it's a catastrophe. And so I think there's just, as ownership of the underlying vehicle changes, there has to be a different awareness of what the maintenance is and what my risks are.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing about it is I don't, and we've talked about this in some of my owner groups and so forth about, you know, vehicle inspections and state inspections. And there's several states that do it. North Carolina, Pennsylvania, a lot of the New England states do it. I know in Pennsylvania, you can't even have like a rust spot on your car, that you've got to fix that in order for it to pass the inspection.
Huh?
So the thing about in our area is they've never done that. So you're right. These people come in with these cars and it's just like, we had one the other day where the customer wore the brakes out so bad that the brake pad came out and spun around, and the whole outside face of the rotor was down to the fins and beyond. And it was just, and
now you're into a really costly repair.
Yeah. And if you're doing a yearly inspection, which I guess it's going to add cost to the consumer, but man, don't you want to be safe on the road? I don't know.
Well, or even if, I think there's a lot of service centers that do a complimentary inspection when you just have maintenance forms, right? Whether it's just having the fluids refreshed, but at least semi-annually, it's probably worth a visit to a tire center and just say, can you do an inspection on this car? And most of them, it's complimentary.
Yeah.
And to check that out and just know you have a problem, get it solved ahead of time, it saves you a big costly repair, and while at the same time makes your car roadworthy.
Yeah. So the state inspections, that's interesting. I guess I didn't know that Utah rescinded that. And that's the first thing that's come up. And it's like, my brother lives in the Cleveland area and they have to do emissions testing, and I'm in a state where that's not a thing either. So their vehicle can't have a check engine light on, or it has to pass these carbon tests. They stick something up the tailpipe and it runs and whatever. Yeah. So, keep that in mind when you're out there looking for your used car. So when we're talking about nation safe drivers, is it just like cars, automobiles and trucks and light trucks that you guys are involved with, or do you do like boats?
We'll do power sports. We do some power sports, really anything that is a transportation device other than a big 18-wheeler, right? We have
Gotcha.
the ability to do that. So everything, think about your big mobile home all the way down to, a scooter.
Oh, all right.
So everywhere in between, we have a way to help with those.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about what a typical day for Richard Holland looks like. I know you're in Florida, and that so you got two houses. How long are you in Florida?
I spend the majority of my time in Florida. Part of that is being relatively new to this position, and this is a company that's sponsored by a private equity firm, and they're the ones who recruited me, and usually it's a really clear mission to come in. This business maybe wasn't performing at their expectations, so how do you come in and tune that up? So you spend a lot of time at the office with the team, working with them. And Florida's a pretty darn nice place to be, especially in the winter months, right? My wife and I love it down here. But a typical day here starts pretty early. I'm usually at the office sometime between 7 and 7:30 and here till 6 or so every day. And I start my day with a session with my key leadership. We call it a stand-up. Earlier in my career, I was in technology development, and it was a practice that we developed there as working with engineers. So it's been modified and adopted here. And really the question is, what are we going to get accomplished today? Make sure everyone's clear on what their mission for the day is, and we resolve any challenges that maybe would impede that. Then the rest of the day is spent interacting with the team, right? It might be briefings, it might be offering counsel, it might be approving recommendations that they're having, or a lot of time spent with customers. How do we do better? How can we help them be successful? How do we fulfill their brand promise? And the day goes by fast, and it's challenging work, but enjoyable, and really pleased with the progress that this business is making. And I guess, this is a career that I really enjoy. And the fact that I get to do it around automotive is even, right? I think I look back on my career, I've probably personally been in somewhere around 6,000 dealerships.
Really?
And every one of them is as fun. It doesn't matter what they sell, everywhere from, an Acura to, highline vehicles, right? They all are unique. I think I find an artistry about all of them, and they have a various niche. But it helps to be passionate about cars.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you got the products that do other things other than cars. So we've got a hold of that. Some of the things that I've been doing lately with my team is we've been talking roughly about how we interact with our customers and how we get feedback from them. We ask them for reviews. We talk with them. I had a recent review where our shop is located. It's right in front of a outlet store, and this woman had her vehicle not start, and she thought she needed a battery. So I walked over there because it wasn't very far. Figured quickly that it did need a battery, and then got her brought over or jump started so she could come over, and then her mother picked her up and we got a battery in there. But she was very thankful and very upfront about how friendly I was and how much I talked to her like she was just a normal person. And so that's some of the things that we've been working on. What are the things that you work on with your team that get you 260 something growth in a previous role?
So I think part of it is treating every customer engagement as a moment of truth. So here we would say, gosh, when somebody calls, first off, you can assume they're in a stressful situation.
Right.
It's an unexpected, frightening experience to have your car, frankly, not be roadworthy for whatever reason. And so we say, regardless of the voice you hear on the other side of the phone, what you should picture in your mind is your grandmother. This is your grandmother. How would you expect your grandmother to be treated? How would you like her to be safeguarded? How would you like to make sure she gets high integrity service from whoever it happens to be?
Yeah, I say that all the time.
I mean, when you think of it, the world like that, this is my grandmother. It just elevates your level of service and interaction with them, right? You have a softer tone, you're more concerned. And so we've spent a lot of effort and time on soft skills to have that happen. Now, not all motorists want to talk on the phone. Ironically, there's a whole cohort of motorists out there that says, gosh, I'd prefer to manage that myself. And so we acknowledge that. When they call, they can say, press a 1 and you can manage this all yourself. And next thing they know, they have a one-time use app on their phone. They can track where the wrecker is, when they get to them, the ETA, where their car is after it's been picked up. And they actually have, for them, that's their preferred way. They like to be more in control. To your point about doing the surveys after, we do a closed loop survey on everyone, because we're looking at ensuring that the service was completed to their satisfaction, helps us also evaluate the service provider network, make proactively changes that we might need to at the time. But I think as much of it, everything is turning, I mean, you hear the expression, this is not personal, it's business. We're saying the opposite. If it's not personal, it's not business. And so let's make every one of these moments of truth count.
Yeah. And so that's one of the things that we talk about too. When we talk to our customers, they call or they're on the side of the road, or first of all, are you okay? Are you in a safe spot, or is everything okay? Cause you're right. It is a very stressful situation. And, I have another short little story I'll tell you about about going to my son's graduation party, which was in town. And we had a ride back. So we had the ceremony and did all the stuff at his graduation party, and we were loading up, putting a bunch of stuff in my truck, and then we were on our way home. And then I just heard this bang underneath the truck, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? And then tire pressure monitor starts going off, and it was just like 20, 10, 0, and I'm in the left lane on I-94. And, you know, by the time we got off the side of the road, and of course it was the right side tire, which was nice enough for that, so that I'm not out.
That was helpful.
Yeah, I'm not out on the side of the road facing traffic. But, you know, damaged the tire and so forth like that. But it would have been really, really nice because I was in a shirt and tie and my suit.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm getting dirty.
Yeah.
You know, so that's.
And that would be, listen, you could call roadside. Granted, you might have to wait a few minutes for them to get there, but then they would blunt the traffic by pulling out proactively, you know, creating a barrier between you or between traffic and the car, and then safely be able to change that tire. I mean, I've had a very similar experience to you. We were headed from this office to the airport to go do some travel up north, and had a same thing. Tire pressure indicator went off. We pulled over to the side of the road, and I'm like, gosh, I am unequipped to make this change right here. And we requested roadside, and they were there in a matter of minutes and got us back on the way. We made our flight, right? So that was helpful, but
Decent.
It's one of those things that, frankly, is never top of mind until it's needed. And it's just a great ability to know you've got people to call.
Right. It's there when you need it. So are there tools that you put in place so that the customers do remember they have it? I mean, I know we go into the F&I department and they're talking about what we're paying and how long we're going to pay. And then they want to talk to us about the interior care or the tires or the windshield, let's say. What tools do you put in place to help the customers?
We partner with who the business partner is that presented it. So if it's in an F&I office, it's maybe a brand promise from an OEM or a dealer or a dealership group.
Okay.
We'll do after sales collateral where we send it back. We'll send them on their behalf. And it's a little like almost a business card. You can slip it into your wallet, just like the size of a credit card. We also moved one here to say, gosh, we're being able to do it digitally. Let's put it into your wallet on your smart device, because that's what's the other part. Usually when this happens, it's late at night, it's dark, you're thumbing through the glove compartment looking for something to find it. You know you have it, but how do we make it as convenient as possible for them to realize that it's out there? So we look at a lot of those, but I think the digital wallet will be the one where it's going to get the most traction. It seems to be early tests are that's what's happening. And then it's a matter of working with really our partners to say, this is a benefit you need to take credit for, remind your customers, your motorists that that's out there. And if I looked at myself personally, I probably have roadside coverage from 4 or 5 different businesses that I do business with. My vehicle insurance, the warranty on the vehicle. I think my cell phone company has it. I have it with my affiliation with Costco. I mean, there's a number of them where that benefit has been included, but most people don't know quickly how to get to how I would activate it and put it to use.
Right. And, you know, another example would be, you know, the insurance that I bought for our travel trailer, that I specifically went through each one and I said, now, does this cover the tires? Because they said, yeah, we'll, you know, it covers the tires. And I said, now, because when you run over something on a camper, you don't blow just the front tire, you blow both sides of the tire, you know, both sides, and you got one spare. So that's the thing that I was looking at when I was going for that. The other thing I was just thinking when you were talking about the customers and what you have put in place, it's like we put a customer retention management company in place that texts our customers and asks them, is everything okay with your car afterwards? You know, there was a lot of times back in the day where I was just like, can this person just go away? And their car can just go away because for whatever reason, we can't seem to get it fixed to their satisfaction. And now it's a thing where, we offer our upfront, no holds barred delivery where we're talking to you about what we did to the car, explaining all the stuff. So that's really important. And I like when you were talking about doing everything yourself, because my kids, the whole,
The only way they know how to communicate.
there's a whole generation that just want to do things on their phone. And you're right. They don't want to call on the phone. They don't
and they want to know, it's not as much, once you've requested the service, then my kids or anything like your kids, can be a little bit impatient. They're like, I made the request. I know it's been 75 seconds, but where is that wrecker, right? The fact that he's 6 miles away, but at least it has an ETA, and there's some sense of ownership when you can at least see progress being made.
Yeah.
But it is a new generation, and there'll be more to follow. Right?
Yeah, and it's funny that some of the customers I've got, stop. And then most of the customers we have love that. And we can send them their estimates. We have a management system that's very sophisticated and does a lot of things that we weren't able to do in years past. And we can just send the estimate to you, and it's on your phone. It's a link. You look at it and you go, okay, yes, I approve. And you can sign your name.
Pay for it, probably. Pay for it,
you
right
sign your name on your screen, and it comes back to us we get emails, texts, and then it alerts us in the management system so that we know that customer has just approved all these repairs. And so that's really helpful, the technology part of it.
Yeah, I totally. I think we just got to, as providers, recognize that our customers have a preferred way to be communicated with.
Yeah,
and we have to respect that and leverage it.
So what are some of the challenges coming up with some of this technology? What are you guys doing to get ahead of that?
Well, I think that's where one of the advantages that we have here is that both either myself, I changed out, brought in a new chief technology officer. We come from technology space. And so where this has been largely highly performed in the past by people who've come up through the service space, we look at technology perhaps a little more forward leaning. We have more of a DNA that is let's talk about the possibilities.
Yeah.
And matter of those possibilities are really limited by imagination and ambition, and we have plenty of that. And then we get some good feedback from our power users and partners out there, and then we roll up our sleeves and build the technology. So we're fortunate in that respect that we think more like a technology company and less like a service company. And the fact that we can blend both of those together, I think will enable us to really be a high value servant to our customers.
Now, are you guys coming up with like a specific app that that customers can download? Like if it's a Nation Safe Drivers app, then you preload and put your account numbers in, and it knows what products you have, and then you can go from there?
That's certainly the one that people ask about. My experience has been because it's almost a single use occurrence. So do you leverage technology out there? Like, let's get the card of who you call into your wallet. So once you call us, then we're going to text you a link. The link behaves like it was an app. It looks like an app on your phone. It's for that service visit, and then it does go away. That seems to be more readily utilized by motorists than them having to go through the rigor of let me download an app, create an account, sign in. We just don't see as much utilization of that one. Now, if I was a dealership group, right, which we're happy to wireframe that into dealerships apps or the OEM apps. In fact, we have them out there where you could be on your OEM's app. Let's just hypothetically use Toyota. If I went to my Toyota Care app and said I need roadside assistance, framed in that would be that experience from NSD.
Oh.
Not that I'm suggesting that is one there today, just an example.
Right.
But I think where we're saying is that we're a vital link in the delivery process, but we're happy to let it be embedded in the customer, into our distributing partners' applications. So it's been built that way to enable them to leverage it and add value to their apps, because we see those apps being on a more frequently used basis. Why we think it's limited, if I went back earlier in my career, we had a premise that we said, gosh, the useful life of a car is it's about 12 years, but it's maybe a little bit longer. Let's just use round numbers, 5,000 days. If a car's life is 5,000 days, 54 of those is where, other than putting gas in it, that a motorist has to make a decision. Whether it's buy it, insure it, gets light duty repairs done, major repairs, only 54. And so to get someone to use an app for those 54 days over a 12 or 13-year period didn't seem probable. And so we said, oh no, let's just figure out an easy, elegant, efficient way for them to get the help they need in an app-like experience that's virtually disposable. And that's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing motorists. That resonates with them, right?
Yeah, that's a great idea. And we all talk about and have these opportunities where it's like, oh, there's another app I got to load in and download and create an account and know that it's even there. I mean, you swipe across my iPhone and I just pull down and I search.
To show you mine.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll have more apps on there that most of them I couldn't even tell you why I put it on in the first place.
Yeah, and then I'm like, I was going through the other day. It's like, I can't even believe, what's this app? Oh yeah, that's the app for Monroe shocks and struts.
I used it one time.
Right, I've used it. It's like, let's clean up your phone. Let's get some of these apps out. I'm like, oh, I forgot I had that one. And all these companies that we deal with and we partner with Auto Value. So we're an Auto Value certified service center. So I have the opportunity to speak to a lot of high level people in these categories that sell parts, companies like Standard Motor Products and Dorman and so forth. So I have a lot of contacts out there, and it's just like, everybody's got an app, man. Why can't we just get like one thing that works well?
Oh, well, I think a lot of people, the premise, go back 5 years. You have an app, it's like the easy button, right? It'll be this conduit that people will flood to you. And the reality is, if you really looked at their user experience, it was a one-time use, and you'd be better off just making it really easy for them to do business with you on that one time.
Yeah, and that's something where I just opened up my Chevrolet app, and I'm looking down through here, and there's different things that I can do. I click on service, and I can schedule a service, and then there's roadside assistance, and it's like, okay, and it takes you outside, and it says welcome, and then you go from there. So if that's something you've already got in place, that sounds like a great idea to tag along.
That'd be a great place.
Yeah,
there, you've got the Chevy, right? You could use it for other things. I have them on the cars that I own. And I'll be honest, a couple of them, it says, go to roadside, and it says, and here's the number, click to child, right? And I'm like, well, that's not really the experience I want either. Right. So those are the ones who we have on our prospect list. This is like, boy, we should displace this and put this in, make this an easy, elegant user experience for your motorists.
Yeah. And that's what I hear from a lot of people, is that it's just like, where has the customer service gone? And that, to me, that's when I just took those steps to make, our customer service just be like Disney, I mean, the Walt Disney.
Well, it's just funny. That's an interesting reference. And I'll be honest, in our evolution of the leadership team here, I took 22 of them up just in the last 30 days. Since Orlando's close by, we asked the Disney Institute to do a 2-day class on just creating those moments of truth and how to master those. And there's no one better at it than the Disney Corporation. It was a significant investment for this business, but we look at it and say, this is how we fulfill our brand promise, right? To get motorists safely off the road and to get their car back on the highway. So,
well, I got a couple of outro questions for you, and these are some of the things that I put in this outline for you. Do you have a favorite book right at the moment?
That's a great question, because I am a reader. I am reading a book. It's by Ryan Holiday. And in fact, I have it literally right here behind me. It's called Discipline is Destiny. And he has a series on what he would call the Stoics. And this one really talks about temperance and discipline. And he uses as illustrations lots of very familiar leaders from now or in history to stress those points. It's an easy read. The chapters are short. The principles are sound. And I would certainly advocate that one. We use a couple of others internally. We use one. It's by a gentleman by the name of Lee Cockrell, former vice president of parks at the Disney Corporation. It's called Creating Magic. It's very customer-centric, very customer-focused. We use another one in here because we're big on let's make decisions once. Let's establish a process that's repeatable, that we know works. And it's actually the leadership style of Nick Saban. And so we use that one, and people like to read it because everyone loves football. They may not like Alabama, but they all like football. And it's
or
hard
Nick
to,
Saban.
hard to hey, listen, this is Florida, right? So
Right.
it's hard to argue.
Those are fighting words.
Saw, right? And now he's a car dealer, right? A thriving car dealer because he's taken that same discipline that he used to develop elite level football to elite level.
He's got a unique mind.
Car business.
Yeah, he's got a very unique mind. You listen to him talk about how different players and different attitudes and different skill sets. You can be a good player, but not have the skill set to be a good player.
Yeah.
And, you compare people like, Peyton Manning to and Tom Brady's of the world. You're thinking about some of those people that just really excel at their position. And, that's some of the things that we're talking about too. And the book I'm reading right now is Jefferson Fisher. It's the next conversation, how to make your conversations better, how to look at somebody. And if they're having a bad day, that's the person you see might not be who you're talking to.
Yeah.
So,
it's really, frankly, to make that moment count, right?
Yeah, and that sounds like
people are complicated. Right?
Yeah, and see, and then that your book is something that I'm gonna dig into and look too. Going around the office, what would be your least favorite buzzword?
I tell you, this is the buzzword that I think is the most misunderstood, and it's called transparency. What I find is lots of people profess, let's be really transparent until it talks about me, right? And so I just did an offsite with our operations leadership team last week. I actually brought them out to Park City, and we were talking about that. It's certainly a way to get everyone engaged, everyone fully committed to the mission is you've got to be hyper transparent. You've got to be willing to share with them everything. And everyone was all in. And I said, well, this is what I really want to do is I want to put up the org chart and what we pay everybody. And so then the organization would self-police. Yeah, I think we're overpaying that guy, and this guy should do a lot more for what we're paying him. And everyone bristled at the idea. And I said, it's just a test, right? So we love transparency unless it comes to us.
Right.
And I said, that's something we got to figure out. You've got to learn we talk about holding people accountable. That's the other one that I hear a lot of. We're going to hold them accountable. And it's like, what does that really mean? And the definition of that and the practical application of it, we got work to do there.
Yeah. And mine, I guess, would be, it is what it is.
Yeah. That one.
And it's like in the auto repair business, it's like, well, it is what it is. It's broken. Well, okay.
Or that one, or I have one. This is the way it's always been done. And I'm like, wow, this is way overdue to say we should just rationalize. Is this the right way it should be done?
Right.
And you usually find gold every time I hear that expression. To me, that's like a gift because it tells me I'm sure we've got leakage there in some form or another.
What's the best piece of technology that you own?
Um, it'd have to be the convenience of what I have on my smartphone. I have an iPhone. I travel a lot. I don't think I could live without my Delta app, right? Because my schedule's fluid.
Comfort Plus.
I have to make changes. I apply to be upgraded. But it has my calendar on it, all my contacts, all my, frankly, mediums to connect with people are all right there in just the palm of your hand. And if you can use it as a tool versus a distraction, for me, that's my most popular one. I have kids, they spend a lot of their time on TikTok or their social network, and to them, it's counterintuitive. It's not a tool. That's a distraction. And so I guess it comes back. Maybe this is why I love this book by Ryan. Is it's all about the discipline and the temperance and leveraging the tools. But I'm big on communication. That gives me so many different means of communicating that I really couldn't replace it. And it's with me all the time, in 24 hours a day, and anywhere in the world.
Right.
It used to be. Listen, you went on a vacation, you went to Hawaii, or you went to Europe. You were out of the communication loop. That's no longer today. The world is small because of that.
I tell you, I'm very thankful that I've got my iPhone, because when we went to London, and I don't know if you've ever been to London, you can ride the tube, they call it there.
Yeah.
So, you got your wallet.
Yeah.
So no sense in paying every time you go in the tube. You just click and you got your credit card, bam, the gate opens and you go in.
Yeah. Could not be more. That's just it. I think the convenience of what so much has been compressed into that little tiny device.
Yeah.
It's a game changer. I couldn't live without it.
Absolutely. If you could have one classic car, American, European, whatever, what would it be?
Well, it depends on your definition of classic, but for me, because I'm old enough to appreciate it, I'd like a 1965 Mustang Fastback, or the 2+2, in Ragoon red and black. Well, it'd be vinyl interior, but with a 4-speed manual transmission.
And a 289.
Right? And the reason since that was the first car I ever bought, I sold it when I was 19 for $375, and to replace it today is going to cost like $80,000, right? But
10 times that.
At least, right?
10, 20 times that. Yeah, I know. I had one of those moments too. I had a 69 Chevelle SS 396, and
I love that car. What engine was in it? Which engine?
The 396.
396, yeah. Great powerhouse.
Yeah. And after breaking so many things on that car because the engine was so big and
the U-joints, went through U-joints like there was no tomorrow.
Absolutely. Drive shaft broke on it, no doubt about it. Had a 4-speed transmission in it, and your buddies are out there just giving you the sign to smoke the tire, and so that's my definition of a classic car. And I did sell that car once I moved up to Michigan, and if there was a time machine moment and I can go back and tell myself not to do something, that would be one of them.
I hear you. I'm right there with you.
But that's one of those things with, it paid for the ring that's on my wife's finger, and we got married shortly after that. So now we've got our own 68 Chevrolet C10 that we're redoing, and she's actually physically out there helping me. A school teacher getting greasy and dirty, so that's kind of nice. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you for telling us. Man. Yeah, thanks for telling us all about Nation Safe Drivers. Where can they go to get your products? Tell the people at the end of our episode here, where can they go to get it? Is it just?
Listen, you can come right to our website at Nation Safe Drivers. You can talk to most any dealer that you have in the space out there. Your insurance providers have it. It's amazing how quickly, readily available it happens to be. But maybe the easiest one is to come right to Nation Safe Drivers, and we'll figure out a way to get you enrolled.
Awesome. Well, again, it was nice to have you on the show. Nice meeting you. We appreciate your time, and thanks for being on the show.
All right, Matt, thanks. It's been a pleasure.
Yep. Have a good day,
thanks
sir.
For having me.
Yeah, all right.
Okay. See you.
All right, that's going to do it for another episode of the All Automotive Podcast. A big thanks to Mr. Richard Holland from Nation Safe Drivers for being on the show today. We really appreciate that. Did you all know that we are on Spotify? Check us out. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us some fan mail. Until next time, hey, keep that greasy side down.